and inclusiveness, which is what this bill is about.
Mr. Chair.
Honourable Chester Borrows.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to speak in support of the need for a supplementary order paper with respect to protecting the ability of celebrants to be able to refuse to marry gay couples depending on their the way they see this particular issue. And I have some sensitivity around it, having been a civil independent marriage celebrant for a number of years. I have, I think, officiated about 100 weddings, and in the last 3 weeks I've done a tag team with someone who is currently licensed, because I'm not currently licensed, having handed in my warrant when I became a bit busy as an MP. But I've officiated at 2 weddings in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm happily officiating at my nephew's wedding this Sunday. I would also like to point out, although people have said those civil or independent celebrants do it for the money, and they're authorised by the state, so they should marry all comers. In actual fact, most of the time I've accepted a bottle of wine as full payment because I saw this as some way that I could help people within my community. I wasn't doing it for any particular reward. At times when mileage was required, etc., then we got up to $100, but generally it was for a bottle of plonk. Having said that, the point is, I believe, quite specific here, because I agree that there are protections within the bill as it is at the moment that protect those celebrants who are authorised or endorsed as part of the organisation they belong to, as long as their organisation that is in effect their sponsor to be a celebrant has a position on gay marriage. And it's been raised already tonight that there are churches, for instance, that don't hold official positions on this issue, though a number of members within their community do. But those people who are in the position as I was, as an independent celebrant, would not be protected in this way, and although there is a clause there that says no celebrant is obliged to marry any couple that presents themselves for marriage, the fact is you'd have to tell a lie not to perform that marriage. And people have said to me, even people that I'm very friendly with, sitting just there, you could always just say, you're busy. But in fact, that would not be true. That would not be true in the case. He's only good to listen to for so long. The point of the matter is this, that if I decided I wasn't going to marry a gay couple who presented themselves for marriage, it would be because I didn't agree with gay marriage. To go and create some other fanciful reason that my diary was full would be telling a lie, in effect. And I don't think people should be put into that position. It's the same as a shopkeeper who doesn't have to serve somebody in his shop. If they come in, they want to buy some goods, he can decide whether or not he wants to sell those goods to that person coming in a shop. That's fine. But the Human Rights Act prohibits that shopkeeper from refusing to serve that person on the basis of a number of those bases within the Human Rights Act, one of them being sexual orientation, race, colour, creed and all the rest of it, and so it should. But there is an alignment with what my friend Dr. Paul Hutchison was saying. We're talking about people, for instance, within the medical fraternity who are able to rely on their moral code beliefs, well-held, religious or otherwise, not to perform certain procedures that people present themselves for. You can think, for instance, of circumcision of male children some years ago. A doctor wasn't required to perform that if they didn't believe that was within their keeping or ethics, and the performance of pregnancy terminations is exactly the same. If people can think that this issue is different, it is not. A medical practitioner is dealing with the physical, that's right. A person in my position as a celebrant who got into it through community service and initiated through a faith interest is dealing with something spiritual. And I don't believe that the physical and the spiritual can necessarily just be conveniently protracted or diverged for those reasons. I think that it is very important that we have a an amendment to this bill that makes it quite clear that an independent celebrant can decide not to marry a gay couple who present, or any couple who present themselves because of that situation. I'll just underline it like this too. If a couple came to me and if it came round to their wedding day and they turned up, Mr. Chair,
Chester Borrows.
and they turned up and they were drunk, I wouldn't marry them, because I don't believe they're in the right space in their heads to get married. If they turned up to present themselves asking me to take their wedding, and I believe that the woman was obviously suffering from physical abuse and had been assaulted, or was there in some way not there because she wanted to get married to this guy because she was under some sort of duress or pressure, I wouldn't marry them, and that would be fine, because the law says you're covered, you don't have to. But if I decided not to marry the couple that present themselves for marriage because of any of those bases under the Human Rights Act, I'm acting illegally. And I believe, as a celebrant, as an independent celebrant, even one only authorised civilly and not promoted by some organisation of faith, I should have the ability to decline that marriage. Thank you.
Tim McIndoe.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to begin by acknowledging